I'm wondering.
Okay, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Can we stand for the pledge of allegiance, please?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna wait for these gentlemen to get to the back. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'd look for a motion to approve today's agenda.
Make such motion. I'll second.
Any discussion? Just, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Look for a motion to approve the minutes for August 12th.
Motion to approve August 12th minutes. I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Claims, has had enough time to review the claims and
Yeah, did you find anything out with the other one?
I sent him an email, he didn't respond to it, so hopefully soon. Hopefully, I'll have an answer for you next meeting, how's that? I'll have another, you have to go kick his front door. Grand total is $211,867.37. Where do you want to?
And then two, I'll make a motion to approve claims for August 19th.
Okay.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, how about meetings attended, Scott?
I had a Russ meeting, nothing too much pertaining to us, just more with financials and repairs on some of their equipment. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, you were at the courthouse.
Oh, yeah, I guess I did attend.
How could you miss that meeting?
Yeah, I attended the solar public hearing.
I think half the county was up there.
Yeah, I was surprised at the turnout.
Kevin?
Well, I was at the solar meeting also, and then I had an Eastern Iowa 40 meeting. And we didn't have much to report, because I got a lot of catching up to do there. I'm not up to speed. They got a lot going on. I'm not up to speed on everything that's going on, so I gotta contact somebody there and get some info.
We had public health the same night you guys were at the courthouse. We talked about a car. I'll let Leah talk about that when she does her report. I think it's on her agenda too. Pretty much business as usual at public health, nothing too major. We had some people doing presentations. It was interesting to listen to them. We had a complex meeting yesterday. We did talk about the LP tank, which I know is on the agenda. That was some topic for discussion. Apparently there's some concrete out by the, and Brandon and I looked at it. Part of the sidewalk by the lunchroom, a kitchen area, is broken and it looks hollow underneath. I'm not sure quite what's going on. Brandon said he's gonna work on getting a quote to have that 10 by 10 spot repaired, replaced. Of course, it's gonna be dependent on what's hiding underneath that spot, so I'm worried that water's gonna start running back towards the building, so we're working on that. That was part of it. I think everybody agreed Brian was doing a great job on the mowing. They're very happy to see that. We talked about weeds, we talked about the shooting range. I'm working on the generator. Found out what was wrong with the generator. It's a diesel engine with mechanical fuel injection. It has a lift pump and a pressure pump. The lift pump is attached to the side of the engine. The diaphragm went bad, so it was pumping diesel fuel into the generator, into the crankcase. I drained out 8 gallons of what should have been oil. It's mostly diesel. I got the lift pump number. There's 3 different lift pumps that could have been on that engine. I had to get it off, figure out which one was the right one. Once that's replaced and, I got the new filters on, but what I could should be okay, so. Brandon said he was talking to Kenny about, a replacement generator through EMA. Now, whether or not we put it outside or we replace it and put it inside. I don't know, we haven't crossed that bridge yet, so. And I see our trees are coming down over the courthouse, that started yesterday. Things are happening. That's all I had, public input? Anyone want to address the supervisors? Or put something on the agenda for next week? No? Okay, I didn't see any payroll changes.
It's not.
So we'll go to the discussion number 8 of the meal reimbursement policy. I think we talked about that last week.
Yep.
Well, I think we're in a head nod agreement that we were gonna take it to $100 a day for overnight stays or meetings. Breakfast was 15, lunch 25, and dinner at 60. I don't know when the last time it was actually updated. Do you have any idea when that was updated? I think it was the allowed date, because it had it at 50.
Yeah.
And you could spend more than that on dinner if you didn't try too hard. Anybody have any input on that? If not, I'd look for a motion to approve, revision of our meal reimbursement policy.
So moved. And I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Adam's not here yet. We'll move to Jacob. Jacob, you got an update?
Yep.
What's update?
Our seasonals, both our naturalist interns, they help in the schools and the camps. I guess it's not schools because it's summertime, but with camps, and then we have maintenance seasonals. The naturalist interns are done for the year. They're back to school or wherever they're going. And our maintenance seasonals, one of them's last day is this Friday, so we'll be down in Mower. But then we have a 6-month seasonal that is gonna be with us through mid-October-ish. Just kind of depends on when he's needed and how budgets look, so, we'll have to start putting somebody on a mower, or he can usually keep up as long as it doesn't grow too fast, so. We're not hoping for hot weather, but
A bad year for keeping up.
we're hoping for hot, yeah, absolutely. I'd like to put a plug in for the Halloween hike, tentatively October 25th. Trunk or treat, I think, is also November 1st, so it's the weekend before. We'll have, I'm not sure what it's gonna look like this year. We're kind of changing some things as we go. It used to be skits in the woods, and last year was just a hike in the woods, and so I don't know where we're gonna be, if it's gonna be a hike or skits or somewhere in between, but we offer free camping to people who come and decorate their campers and hand out candy. It worked super well last year. People loved it. We've already been getting calls about when we're gonna open up campgrounds to allow for it. Super hot, so we'll definitely do it again this year. But that's just October 25th. So that's really an invite, just get it out there. Lana is busy scheduling for school field trips. So she goes in as the teachers come in and they get in-service days, and she walks the halls and just gets every door. So she's doing that. And then Amanda Stallman, our newest employee, starts on Tuesday. So we can either put her on a mower, or we'll just kind of see how that goes. It's a new experience for us too, so we're all gonna learn.
Good to have multifaceted people.
Yeah, should be very valuable.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about what we talked about with Danny yesterday?
Sure, we can. Yeah.
So yesterday at the complex meeting, we talked about, Danny's at 20 hours,
30.
30 hours.
Boyson, she's our office administrator
Right.
for conservation.
So all the bills for the complex. This was the first year we actually did a budget for the complex. In previous years, they would get conservation would get a bill, or jail would get a bill, or Leah would get a bill. It was just all over the board. It just didn't make any sense. So we formed a complex budget which takes care of the LP tank and the air conditioners or whatever it is. Those bills, they've got them addressed to go to the complex right now.
Yes, that has an address. It's 108.
And Danny has been kind of compiling them. She just was elected to do that. Whatever, you know. I made a suggestion just to have her go to her office, but she's gonna have to make phone calls and track people down to figure out, is this the generator for the complex? Is this the generator for the jail? Where Danny kind of can figure all that out. But I think the consensus was we'll keep Danny as the billing person and all of it go through her, and then she'll give it to Susan. She's got plenty to do. She doesn't need it. But with that, it's gonna take a little more effort for her to do that. And they were talking about adding more hours to her.
Bumping her up to 40. And then however she wants to do it, 2 hours per day, or, you know, sit down on Friday and do all the bills or whatever. And then I talked to Danny and she's not sure that 10 hours, she thinks that's gonna be a lot to do just the billing. But you could also include a little bit of, not necessarily cleaning, but if the halls need swept or, you know, something like that to incorporate that need, which,
Well, as a complex supervisor, I would probably put more on her plate and have her start like the concrete bids.
Yeah.
Make sure that she's collecting that
absolutely,
information.
just a
and following
person.
up on that stuff instead of having me do it. You know what I mean? Put some more burden on that she would report to the complex supervisor, whether it's me or you guys or whoever.
And then if
Instead of us.
you guys get reelected or when you leave, then there's somebody that's an employee that knows this stuff. Because if Sean, for whatever reason, left, or, you know, all of it's gone, and we're like, oh, come back, now we gotta reteach the next one. And so if somebody's here with that information in hand and brain,
Yeah.
and it's,
Well, if your guys are kind of in agreement with that, I'll talk to Susan here a little bit about it and we'll put on the next agenda and I'll get some input from her.
Figure out how that affects the budget, no,
Right, exactly. And where that would come from, I think it would probably have to come from the complex. Budget itself would have to take a payroll line. Wouldn't be through conservation, it would be a complex budget.
Select position.
Right.
yeah, and
The pay would be the same, but it would have to come out of that budget.
we've been talking about this for probably 6 months. We've just been sitting on it, talking, discussing, you know, what's right or wrong, so we've got some ideas.
It feels like it's running smoother. There's not so many hands doing so many different things. But yeah, I think it's unfair to have her do a job that, you know, is gonna take some effort, some time to compile it and
right.
expect her to do it on conservation.
It's a good idea to have one person reporting to Susan too, instead of,
She can just make one phone call. And I told those departments yesterday, if they're asking for things to get repaired through Menace or whatever, carbon copy me. And now it will be Dan and Dana, or Danny as well, so that we don't have to ask, well, what is this? Or she calls me and says, we did a repair on a roof. I don't know. So at least we're all
For
there.
budget, definitely having these stuff in this stuff.
Certainly,
So I'll get some input from Susan, maybe we'll sit down and actually, and then mean to hijack the meeting, it just seemed to come up.
that's all right. So you want that on the next agenda?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want me to have job description duties? I've got some prepared, so,
Because it's, for some reason, she leaves and we put somebody else in that position. It would have to have some job duties attached.
I agree, and I mean, I'm happy to put stuff together and do it, but I think you guys should be the ones. I mean,
Okay, we'll figure something.
Yeah. I'll dedicate some time
All
to
right.
doing that.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Not for me.
Good.
Yep, anybody?
Next one on the list is Cindy. Cindy, you got some time? Morning.
All right, for general assistance, mobile food pantry is next week, August 27th. The food pantry for July here for Southeast, Louisa County in Wapello, had 30 households, that was 71 individuals. The Salvation Army funds are dwindling. And I'll say something about that in just a minute. Notice of decisions, we had 3 of them. There were one that, there was 2 that were denied. Both of them were already disconnected and for county, we cannot fund for that, but we were able to assist with Salvation Army funds. And then there was one that was approved. Used both Salvation Army funds and the county and client also paid in order to get their utilities turned on. And then had a phone call from the DAP, which is the Disability Access Points for mental health. They have or will be receiving a vehicle and they're asking if they can park it in our parking lot as a place just to house it. We wouldn't have any keys or access to it. It's going to be fully insured, she said. It would be owned by Eastern Iowa Disability Alliance. And it would just, they're not allowed to keep vehicles at their homes, so they need a place to park it. So I said, I'd ask you guys, mine.
Certainly don't want it out front.
Okay,
I mean,
yep,
yes, back underneath the arms would be the most logical place.
okay. They won't have the vehicle for about a month, they said, so it wouldn't show up for about a month, but.
Plowing.
Oh,
Can we get the keys?
Yeah,
At
I
least
can
to
ask.
move it.
it would be
Yep.
nice, because if something
Yeah.
happens that we need to do access the solar panel or something, it needs to
Right.
be better.
I will ask her.
How often will they be driving that, or who's you?
I don't know if y'all know Raja Taylor. She is, she'll work for them, and so she'll probably be the one driving it most of the time. But they'll use it to go see clients and such, so. For the mental health services.
If it doesn't go there, I don't know where else it would go. It seems a waste to take it all the way out to the complex.
Mhm.
Guess that
You
seems
try it
logical.
and-
Yeah, it doesn't
If
work,
it-
it doesn't
Yeah, you
work.
can let me know
Yeah.
and we'll let them know.
Yeah.
Okay. The general assistance retreat for the state of Iowa is ramping up. They asked if I would go ahead and head it this year, so. We have a committee that's put together and, working on speakers. We have a date for October 29th, and it's at Stony Creek in Johnston. Again, we had it there last year and I was on the committee last year. But, we lost several off that committee due to the mental health region changes, so. So that's moving along, and then November 3rd, we'll begin the signups for Angel Wish Tree, the Christmas food baskets, and Salvation Army could also go into the community, so looking ahead to that and getting things ready, so. Any questions?
Said something about the Salvation Army.
I was just, that I would go ahead and, yep, that the kettles are coming out, so, yeah, time. soon. Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you. So the funding is dropping for Salvation Army?
But no, it actually was pretty high last year when the kettles were out in the community, and so we're just running out of funds.
Oh, for the
to use
year.
them for the clients,
Okay.
yeah, for the year, so the kettles will
I
be.
thought it was, they were rolling back, because we see that so often in all the boards that I'm on, I see that rolling back, so.
Yeah, so Salvation Army funds are a little different because it's all has to do with those kettles that are in the community, so. That we put 12 small kettles out into Louisa County, and whatever goes in those are the funds that we get to use throughout the year.
In the county.
Stays within the county. There are 10%, I believe it is, I'd have to look just to make sure, that goes to headquarters for, like the staff to purchase new kettles to, all of the behind the scene type stuff for Salvation Army, they put on trainings and things, but yeah, otherwise, all of the rest all stays here in the county, so,
Thank you, Cindy.
maybe.
Okay, Lee, it's your turn.
So last Wednesday, we held our kids wellness event out at our office. We had great turnout. We were busy nonstop the entire time. It was from 5 to 7. We were actually there till almost 8 o'clock. So, people, we have an estimation of about 30, immunizations, 7 physicals, and then we also had our dental and our lead testing and our eye screenings. And I don't have numbers on those exactly. We had 7 vendors with resources. Everything was well attended. Heard lots of good stuff. So.
Good, we were worried being out there if it would be attendance.
Yeah, it was packed. Jacob was there and had some kids at his little spot, so.
Great.
Yeah, it turned out really well. We're gearing up for flu season and finishing up the rest of the school, the school starting. There's some kids that'll still need to catch up, so. And let's see, we did have some presenters, the maternal child health presenters from Lee County were at our board health meeting. They just presented on their first 5 and I Smile information, health, pregnancy, and adolescents health. Wasn't anything big there. We did have a freezer go down this week for our vaccine. Well, last week was on Friday. But I think the problem has been resolved now, so. You want me to talk about the car now, or?
The next on the list.
Okay. Did bring this just to see, so you can see what our fleet looks like right now. We do have 5 cars on the road, yeah, 5 cars on the road every day, all day long. Several of them are getting close to 100,000. We did have to scrap 1 vehicle, so we were at 6. That was one of them is over 100,000. That was kind of our backup car. It was originally not supposed to stay in our fleet. But we had decided to keep it when we had recently purchased the tracks. And so now we're looking at getting another vehicle. The Board of Health wants to move.
They've got copies.
Oh, good.
That's what that.
Board of Health wanted to move forward with the purchase of an Escape. And then that is the quote there from them. We did look at a couple other vehicles from Wheelie.
Yep.
Yes. But our last vehicle came from Wheelie, so they had talked about spreading the wealth.
Oh, well. So, my big thing was, it's not in the budget. We didn't budget for that far through public health.
As part of our original plan, that started a few years ago, we were going to replace vehicles every 2 years just to keep the fleet rotating. When budget crunches came, we opted to take it out of our budget, even though we were due. So thinking that we were good to go, and then we had a vehicle lose its transmission completely.
It wasn't worth
And
it.
that's the one we had to get rid of.
They were under budget last year, 30-ish thousand for 30,000, which of course went back in the general fund. We won't know what it'll be until next year. If for some reason they're back under budget again, this amount of money, I don't think any amendment would be due, would it?
No, if they're on the budget.
So if they're under budget and they can make it happen like they did last year, then it pays for it. We wouldn't have to amend anything. But as it stands right now, it's not budgeted through there. There may be a chance, depending on at the end of the year, we may have to do a budget amendment. The board feels that they are using every car. There's a couple that are at 100 or over 100,000 miles. And if one drops off for whatever reason,
Then we're using our own
We're
vehicles
paying
and
mileage.
mileage.
and whereas if they take the oldest one and get it back out and use it for a reserve so that they need to service one of the other ones, they can still do that. So I guess it would be the board's recommendation to move forward with the new Escape. But it's supervisor's decision ultimately. Any discussion?
In the previous years, did you run under budget too, or was it?
Ooh, if you're reaching back away now.
And before me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just know last year
Yeah.
we were. I thought it was 35, but I could be wrong. I know it's over 30. They were under budget, so.
Yeah, and I, off the top of my head, expenditure wise, I don't know where we've been. I know, our revenue typically has been higher.
That's where it came in at.
Then where-
That the expenditures were necessarily lower, the revenue was higher than. what-
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make a motion that we go ahead with the purchase of the Escape for the public health department.
And I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
How much was that for?
$25,450. It was a base board escape. The only option on it was a mini spare tire. They're gonna charge you for the spare tire, $325.
It's already an escape.
Mini. So when they say mini, it's a shopping cart wheel. Alright, if there's not any more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
So,
Motion carries. Anything else, Leah, before we move on?
I don't think so.
Adam's here. Adam,
Well,
hi.
Staying busy in the road, department, blading, rocking, general maintenance. We did replace that worn out pipe out there on 65th yesterday with a tank car. Cut it out of the ground. We got the new one in. Working on backfill and things like that, today. Got another pipe project, tomorrow, smaller one. Planning on working on a concrete patching next week, so I'll probably be working up north of Columbus up there on X-17. Using our crews for the smaller ones. I did, get a quote on some bigger patches, so kind of working through that now, so, other than that, you know, like I said before, all of our equipment's in and up and running in the fleet. Have reached out and have an agreement with a company, Purple Wave Public Auctions, to go ahead and auction off the excess vehicles, so. Other than that, business as usual out there, so. Any questions for me or any issues going on out the roads?
Heard any, no, this is good news sometimes.
Did I give you the update on 92 last week?
I think you
Just
said
that
something
delayed.
about October.
Yeah, they're sounding about like late October, so.
You better count on November then. How this game's played.
They're done, there's
Yeah,
nothing
right.
to do about it.
I did have a meeting last week with the Iowa DOT and Drainage District 12, which was the district for the west and south there, and all that about crossings of their ditches, I guess, so. That's it for my week anyway, so.
Okay. Well, we're in the computer, we're almost at 9 o'clock, that must be a little slow. We'll, go ahead and open a public hearing, item number 14, regarding the sale of the old jail. I look for motion to open a public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, we're now in a public hearing on the sale of the old jail. Anybody contact you?
No,
Very important.
not personally.
Anybody within the room have anything to add? Yeah, Randy?
And my name is Randy Schutz. I've been a lifetime resident of Whiteman County. And I oppose the sale of this old jail. The stairs on the south side of the building coming down from the second floor exit onto the property of the annex. The door on the north side exits onto the parking lot of the annex. The gas meter on the old jail supplies gas to the annex building. The electric meter in the annex building supplies power to the old jail. The water and sewer line from the annex building probably come from the old jail. Whomever buys the old jail will be using the parking on the courthouse side of the street, the annex, or the solar panel sides, all owned by the county. In my opinion, you have three options. Do nothing with it, status quo. That's what's been done with it. Remove the building, take it down. Sell the building and the jail and the annex as one unit and build a new modern office building that was designed for the office space. This building we're in right now was a garage. Louisa County's done an excellent job of taking a building that was never designed for an office space and using it for something that was never designed for it. The jail is a perfect example of it. The jail was built as a jail. That's fine. The complex, they took a nursing home design and made office buildings out, which you're still fighting today. They would have been better off to just tear the building down and start over with a complete new building out there. And I think that's what should be done here too.
Thank you, Randy. I do believe the meter has been disconnected from the jail, though. I don't think it supplies power that direction. There's no power to the jail, so
Well, there's a conduit run from this building over to that building.
it's been severed. There's no power there. This building has its own power thing, but it's fine. I just wanted to correct you on that.
The gas line still comes from that building.
If you decide to sell it, I noticed, I heard Adam say that he is using a auction company to sell some equipment. Is that correct, Adam? Yes. So I think that would be a good thing to take a look at, Steffes Auction Company, maybe to have an online auction. And you said you're interested, Sean, in the building. That would separate you even more from that. I realize it costs a little money, but you're paying a little money to sell your equipment too. So, but, and I would be in favor of tearing it down or selling it as a unit, this whole unit, but.
It's a pretty big expense to go build a brand new building for,
Yeah,
I don't know where it would go.
but that doesn't mean we'll never build one again
I
either.
don't know where else it would go. Any suggestions on where to build a new building?
One of them is on the courthouse property. The other one will be out to the complex.
Or south of town.
South of that? What county property is south of?
No, there's no county property. You buy some south of town.
I see things a little bit differently. I don't want to see it torn down. I would like to see a building that is basically shuttered. Go back on the tax roll. I don't really want to see the county go into debt and tear down a building and spend $50,000 to tear down a building and make a green space when we could make a revenue out of it, but that's just my part of it. I know previous supervisors have tossed this around in the past before me. And I know there was some public people that didn't want to see it knocked down. I don't know if that public opinion has changed within the city.
Well, my opinion is it either needs to be knocked down or sold because it's just gonna deteriorate and
Agree.
we don't wanna maintain it.
We need to do something. I don't know what it would cost to knock it down and tear it all off and regrade it, 50 grand. I don't know.
But we have had discussion about having to enlarge this space. So then there's that option of selling
The whole thing.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
And taking the money we would have revamped this with and putting it into the new projects now, which
Doesn't sound like an unreasonable idea.
maybe we should do some more research on that and see where we can go. Yes.
Kevin, I was at the zoning meeting on Tuesday night, which was at the courthouse. And as I'm sitting there, I'm like, this is a terrible place to hold a public meeting.
It was.
I haven't really thought about it, but now thinking about it, if this whole thing was torn down and reimagined as better meeting space, that would probably be a good idea. I don't know if there's enough space here to do it, but having a space adjacent to the courthouse in town.
Someplace big enough to have public hearings. and
Yes.
Suitable for it.
Yeah, or these meetings for that matter.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, it was bad up there. At that
Yeah,
area.
it
There
was-
was no microphones.
Yeah.
It was not good.
yeah, so,
Well, that could have been remedied easily. That facility, the courtroom was hooked up with microphones and screens.
They said some of them couldn't use them because they're not.
We could
Stage
use them.
or
We asked.
I know how to run them.
Okay. Okay,
Then we have to think
That's
about
called
housing
cops.
these guys, so we're gonna do.
right.
Where they're gonna go.
And
I got a closet.
nobody's opposed to a brand new building. Everybody loves brand new stuff, but there's always a price tag that comes with that too. We're talking
Yeah.
a million.
That's why we have to research,
Yeah.
do some research, see what our options are.
Okay, well. Like any good government, we always put a board in place for that. A task force.
So do we have
Yeah,
anybody?
okay.
I mean,
I'm okay with investigating. I need to know who's investigating. Oh, I just don't want it to just lie there and kick the can down the road like it's been kicked for the last decade or more. How do you want to handle that? Get an appraiser in here and ask them what this is worth to. I don't know.
wasn't there somebody that put a bid previously on it? Do you remember
Two,
Do you remember what those were?
Is that just for the jail or for the whole thing?
just the jail.
Wasn't very much, if I remember.
No, I think top price might have been 30 grand at the time. The thing would be that you're still not gonna get the parking lot on the back because the county has their solar panel there, so regardless, that would still stay in county control. Or have some sort of easement put to it, you know.
When they surveyed it, where is the south property line?
It goes over there quite a ways, believe it or not, but,
I know the north
and then
side.
it kind of goes back in this corner, it's kind of an L-shaped kind of deal. Look, let me make a contact and see if we can't get somebody to get some kind of a rough appraisal on what this is worth.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm thinking wrong, I don't think knocking it down here and building a building in the same spot makes any sort of sense, because we still have a parking problem.
Yeah.
It'd have to go somewhere else. And, I guess for me, the most logical place is put an addition on to the courthouse. I don't really want to have everybody go out to the complex for a meeting. That seems to be
You have a lot of real estate out there.
true. Maybe cheaper to build out there. I don't know.
If people are traveling from Oakville to attend a public meeting. The
Well,
complex
but
is
look
a
at
heck of a way.
Owen Junction, they have to come here, so.
True, valid, yeah.
This is the county seat after all, and. I don't disagree with Randy. We had this discussion yesterday at the complex. That building should have never happened. That jail should have never gone there, that. There's still issues out there that we're constantly fighting. That you took an 80-plus-year-old building and slapped a fresh coat of paint on it and made it work. And air conditioning is a problem, the generators are problems, the heating and cooling system, everything is a problem. And it costs them more money to try to fix all that than would have been build a new one. So I agree with that part of it. But here we are in a situation where we're trying to lower taxes. We're trying to get by with less, and we're sitting here discussing doing something like that. That's a hard pill to swallow. Okay, anybody else before we move along? No,
Have you addressed the asbestos?
in that building?
There isn't any.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Who takes care of
It's in
that?
floor tile.
Who would take care of that if you sold it or?
Sold as is. Yeah, anybody else? I look for motion to close public hearing.
No move. Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Item number 15 is discussion and action of the sale of the old jail. I think we'll table that. Would that be a fair assumption at this point, until we get
Correct,
some
yes.
information on this property? I look for a motion to table it.
I'll make a motion to table the old
I'm
jail.
gonna have this tabled indefinitely until we have information on this property.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I don't know that you can do that. People it indefinitely. I think a table needs to have a date of when you're gonna revisit this.
Well, a motion to table is not even required unless there's a motion to approve the action item. So if you just put it off indefinitely without a motion to table.
Well, that would be better than saying we're just gonna be indefinite on
You can do either.
Hmm?
So we can just remove the item from the agenda and not
And put it back on whenever you feel
put
like
it
it.
back on there, we feel like it, okay.
We'll just remove it from the agenda. Item number 16. Possible action regarding Sunny Acres subdivision. Like we've got 3 people responsible here to talk about. You want first?
Pretty much you, I give them all my information, I think they got everything up there, you got you guys?
Get it?
You got any questions for me on it?
No.
You mind if I use that, Adam?
The information in this letter.
Yeah.
It was, if the Brian had this, so I don't know, and then you'll saw our ratings at the back of the back.
Whoops, I'm gonna slow down, I'm sorry. I don't know what's right. Nothing different. Gentlemen, I'm here representing Jason and Adair Lenz on this proposed, and Adair's here, she would be kicking my butt if I didn't recognize that she was here. Anyhow, the proposal is on the Sunny Acres is basically to split. They have about 12, 13 acres there, Adair, and they're kind of looking to split that. You can see it by the GIS plat map there, right where I think it's a hayfield that's on the right-hand side of the plat there, and their house is on the left-hand side. I presented this to Brian. I think Brian had some concerns that it didn't meet the qualifications under the matrix. So behind that, I did refer to each of you the county subdivision zoning ordinance there, section 110.17. And I think that the question, the dispute, the issue that we have is, I think if you carefully look, and I kind of highlighted it there in orange, that if you carefully read that ordinance only refers to 2-acre parcels. It doesn't say 3 or 4 or 5 acre parcels. It doesn't say a minimum. It just says a 2 acre parcel is what the matrix refers to. So I don't think the matrix has anything to do with this particular issue in terms of approving this subdivision. So I'd ask you to take a careful look at that. I just think that's been misinterpreted in terms of what the matrix does or doesn't apply to. Secondly, and probably in the bigger picture, you can see that the proposed subdivision is about a 6 acre parcel. And gosh, I wouldn't even count. I asked Katie Walker works in my office now. I asked Katie, who's been around here a long time, how many 5 acre parcels she thinks there are in this county. Susan may even know. She has that on her fingertips. How many 5 acre residences we have in this county, but there's a multitude of them, certainly. And so it would appear to make sense to us to approve this subdivision so that an additional structure could be put on the new proposed subdivided lot. On an even bigger picture, the concern seems to be of taking what's so-called ag land out of production. We had a discussion and approved an 800 acre solar farm a few years ago, took ag land out of production. You're now looking at a proposed 3,500 acre to take it out of production. This makes little sense not to approve this. Finally, the tax dollars that this county would generate off of approving that 6 acre parcel and putting the structure out there would far, far exceed any other use you're gonna make of that property, and certainly any other tax dollars you're gonna make. So we would ask that the board approve that subdivision. And Sean, that's the big plat, I'm sorry, presented that's the actual plat of the subdivision, so. That's what I have at this point.
I have a question. So it says, 110.17, it says residents on 2 acre parcels. Should that be rewritten to say 2 acres or more, or a minimum of 2 acres?
It probably should be a minimum of 2 acres or 2 acres or more. That's always been the interpretation of it. The previous code section said 5 acres or more, or minimum 5 acres. And was not attached to the Louisa system, the aggregate site assessment. The change happened, reducing it to 2 acres, but then implemented the aggregate site assessment to make up for the reduction in acres, essentially. So it's always been interpreted to mean 2 or more. If it were interpreted to mean exactly 2, there's one issue with that, which is this is the only provision by which you can break off land and build a house in rural Louisa County. So if it wasn't exactly 2 acres, it would be unlawful, period. The second issue is that everyone would just avoid it by doing a 1.9 acre tract or a 2.1 acre tract if this just meant literally 2 acres and you can build anything else you wanted to. So I would suggest if the board wants to do that they repeal or amend this section. But otherwise, I think it applies.
I think even moving forward in the future, it should be amended somehow.
Yeah, I would agree that would make it more clear.
Would make it more clear.
Yep.
Well, I know Brian back in the back sees things black and white. There's not too many shades of gray with that man. And I know he's against it at this point. Now, I know Roger has highlighted should generally in this paragraph.
And if I may interject, Sean, I think that's also a major point. It doesn't say that you shall or shall not approve. It says should generally. I think that clearly gives discretion to the board.
That's why I
And
pointed that out.
if I can make one other comment, if things are so black and white and so clear, I don't think we would be having this problem. And so I think that's a misinterpretation of the ordinance.
Yeah.
So I think the board does have the
I
right
understand.
to approve this when it says should generally.
I like the way he thinks in the terms of black and white, because it's just, how I like to have our zoning administrator. And he stands up for what he believes is right, so. I'm not.
Yeah, we start making a lot of exceptions, and what's the point of having?
Granted.
And I agree with Roger that the board does have the discretion to approve it. But when Brian showed it to me, the aggregate site assessment, its scores probably as high as I've ever seen anything score. It has the highest, corn suitability rating or crop suitability rating, that you can have. It's the best farm ground in Louisa County. So, I mean, I don't think Brian had much choice. I mean, if he's gonna approve this, he would have to approve literally anything, because you'd be hard pressed to find land in Louisa County that would score higher than this land.
Let's set a precedent.
Yeah. No.
Well, the only thing I would correct about that is this is only on a 2 acre parcel, so it doesn't set a precedence on anything larger than 2 acres. I think that's the clarification that you should understand, number one. And again, it doesn't prohibit the board from approving this, because it says should generally consider those items. So obviously the discretion is empowered to the board to consider what they feel most appropriate.
But this parcel is 6.24 acres.
Right, so it doesn't, what I'm saying, Sean, is I think the code section is written, doesn't even apply under the matrix, under the site assessment. But secondly, if for some reason somebody interprets that it does, you still have the authority to approve. This is not something that says we cannot approve something that doesn't fit the matrix.
I think the intent here was 2 acres or more, even though it's not written that way, but. What's the board think?
Where is your lines that you're splitting off with them?
Right down that hay field. I'm sorry, Sean's got it.
Here's the.
I'm sorry.
It's basically, it's right wearing that.
Oh, that's
That line right
there.
down the middle is where it is there.
So this is what they're selling?
That's what's proposed to be
That's the 6.2.
subdivided. That's correct.
I'm certainly not against new homes, that's for certain.
And I don't know if I can speak up or not, but we do have an accepted offer of someone that does want to come in and build a home. Somebody from outside the county. They've got young kids to go, to school in their school, so.
There is a little bit of a clarification, so in the bulk regulation section under A1, which is 60.6, under that, it does say each lot shall be owned and not leased and shall contain a minimum area of 2 net acres, exclusive of easements, etc.
It just means you can't have anything smaller than 2 acres.
It does, and that's
Doesn't mean you can't have a 5 or 6 acre.
it does, and then the Lisa system is below that under 60.6.2. Shall be one of the tools used. Again, not the arbiter, but tools.
They're doing it the correct way, this is how this works, this is a forum in which to come and. If you disagree, then this is how you handle it. Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I think we set this dangerous precedence. If we change it, just, we're gonna have to have this come time after time. It's like, what's the point in having the zoning, I guess? And I don't know, from an ag standpoint, that part of it, I'm not saying anything about these people, but that you get people moving in the country, it creates problems. They don't understand how ag works with spray and different things.
So I'm hearing a no.
That'd be my choice right now, I guess.
It's always hard to say that when
Yeah.
people are sitting in the audience. I understand that. Kevin, you same way?
Well, I worry about the precedence issue myself. Once again, I also have a to the landowners with it. And do with their land.
Isn't there back?
So,
So it sounds like maybe we need to do a bit more work on our paperwork here so that it doesn't leave a little too much of a gray area. Need to shore that up a little bit.
I think that would be a good idea.
Do you strike the should generally out? And do you,
Well, that's up to the board.
I know I'm asking our attorney that question.
Well, that would leave you no discretion.
That's why we're here today.
Well,
With us, I haven't interrupted.
yeah, it's not a legal discussion, that's a policy discussion. So-
With all due respect, amending your ordinance is not on your agenda today, and I respect that.
Yes, no, I get it.
Opinion
Just talk-
and
talk.
what you're asking him, but I think we're mixing things that shouldn't be.
my other thing is that, I appreciate having someone like Brian that follows the rules to the T. And so I don't want to tell him that you're following the rules and then,
But not.
but
Was it not-
we're just gonna override that.
Yeah, that's-
I do have an issue with that, if the rules are the problem, then we address rules, but as it stands, it looks to me like he's done his job and his recommendation, there's no lot to stand with his recommendation.
Can I clarify one thing on that? Let me interrupt you, Kevin. This is, he can follow the rules and say that the matrix doesn't, that it doesn't fit the matrix. But the ordinance still allows you to approve this. That's the way the ordinance is clearly written, and I think Adam and I both agree as to that interpretation. So again, I respect your opinion there, Kevin, and I understand, I think, what you're driving at. You live in something that's identical to this. So I find that a little ironic, but I want you, I think the board ought to understand, you can still follow Brian's rules and not say he did anything wrong and still approve it. There can be overriding reasons other than the matrix to approve the subdivision. For example, if you want to say, we're gonna get, and I don't know, Adair probably doesn't want me to tell what her real estate taxes are, but any of you who know what a homestead is in the country, figure out what the real estate taxes you're gonna get off of this 6-acre parcel with a house on it versus what you get right now, which is probably no more than a couple $100.
I agree, but in the paperwork, it says a suitability rating of 65 or higher. This is at 180. So
Okay.
if we were talking like, this is 68 versus 65, that may be different, but that's pretty high.
Don't disagree with that.
I think as it sits right now, I've got the majority of the board saying no.
Well, with all due respect, I haven't heard a motion yet. And don't take that as argument, Sean. I understand your interpretation.
All right, well, I'll call for a motion. Approval or denial?
I will make a motion to, deny.
No second.
I have a motion is second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of denial? Say aye.
Uh,
Aye. I'm sorry. You may.
What's the next, closer in the field? Is there a?
They would have to go to district court, but there'd have to be some legal grounds.
Those decisions are not easy,
No,
but that's why we're here, and sometimes you have to make those decisions even though they're difficult. I agree with where Brian was at. He gave us.
Kind of opening yourself up though, if you did it for that, you're moving on to much larger things that could be happening in the county, and
They're gonna
if you
use
take
that.
that CSI rating out of for one thing.
yeah, I just think.
I mean,
it's
there's
a
a whole
whole
can, I would have had a problem with it, but there's no trees, there's absolutely nothing that would help me out. To try to approve, I wanted to approve.
And
I have a question, why do we care about the, farming rating? You know, why is that part of?
Well, it's part of the
Part of it.
comprehensive plan and to manage, just the history of it, to
Yeah.
manage the growth of development into prime farmland. So that we're developing our non-prime farmland and preserving our prime farmland. I'm not gonna take a position where.
Yeah.
That was the impetus for it, that was the policy decision.
Basically, that was what was written into zoning, unless zoning has changed,
Yeah.
our hands are tied by zoning, you know, so.
Yeah, if zoning ain't changed, then I don't think we have a choice in it, but if zoning changes it, then. No,
and like we said before, I think we need to go back into that and shore up that.
Yeah, and the board can change, the direction they want to go with policy.
I would like
If
to
they
put
want
it
to,
in
too.
2 acres or more.
That's Brian.
So the reason you denied this is because of the CSR or the overall the acreage?
CSR rating.
The CSR rate, well, what if they just wanted 2 acres?
Too
high.
The CSR, the CSR is like
100
big factor.
Oh, yeah. That's what played into it.
CSR too.
Yeah.
Well, the CSR was on,
I'm
and
saying,
then the other factors were over 80, so together it was 180, like I say, 100 on CSR and 180.
Yeah, there's a scale on there beside the CSR they look at, and I do like how far it is from town and.
Like there would have been trees there, or creek through there or something, I would lower that number down, and you know, so stuff.
What if this would have been, coming in and saying, hey, we want to build an industrial complex that's gonna bring 1,000 jobs,
well,
bring all sorts of money to the county?
This only applies to rural residents.
Okay,
But
we're
get rid of that.
a lot of the deciding factor was, hey, it makes a lot of corn.
To get rid of.
Well,
Consideration of.
We complain, we don't have anything being developed in Louisa County. We don't even have stoplight.
Major solar.
And yet we're stopping progression into, becoming a.
Your.
We're not arguing that point, I just, the paperwork I had in front of us and the rules that are in place, unless we change the rules
Right.
at this point.
And there's lots of developments occurring and they can't occur in Louisa County under the plan they have now. It just can't occur in certain zones that are fine production.
I just, to me, it didn't make, this question, sorry.
I don't know if I've ever seen a 100 municipality radar.
That's it. Well, you just did.
Yeah.
Where's this?
And before this,
X 43.
Bill said I have some farm.
Well, we have zoning, and we always
You
have
never have there.
appeals that.
That helps.
Wait, I think the.
I think the address might be on there. Let's move on. Kurt, you're on this road back here. Yes, sir.
What's going to change?
Mine's a whole lot easier. You don't have to make any decisions.
Yeah, I was trying to think of somebody that we could remember.
Good morning.
Lady that doesn't just spot.
Pretty normal constitution. We did take up a little bit. I got the updated after I printed this up, so we're almost to $350,000. Budget. It's being spent a little bit at a time, 93%. So, and then there's a note there for increase of time in office. It doesn't affect the bottom line of my budget. Not gonna spend any more money, not have to create any more money. But this is, and I'll talk about that later, dive into it. No major changes to the care center report. And we've not had any, general, soldier relief requests. Training, fall school, commissioners, and I should have put on your side, supervisors as well, are invited October 13th. The day that the state offers training. I'll double check it, but as far as I understand, the grant money could be used for you gentlemen who attend that day of training. Hotel, food, and travel expenses.
Where's it at?
It's in the one, over closer towards Johnston, so the far side. My training is October 21st to 23rd. I already have other plans during that time. It won't affect my CEUs at all. And then spring school, tracking those dates as well. But that's too far out to put on this calendar. Van, no changes to that. It continues to be utilized. Outreach. But with the commission and other counties, veteran appreciation meal, it's attended rather poorly. We get between 12 and 20 folks that come. A few of those are not even Louisa County vets. They just come for they come for a free meal, which is fine, and it's more outreach as well. Very few counties around us will do it. It's viewed as not, the intent is to reach out to new veterans that we're not servicing, to bring them in so they can, and that doesn't happen. So we've decided, the commission and myself decided it's not a good expense. And those dollars are better used with me sitting my butt in the chair and actually doing work. It comes out to be at least about $1,500 for the meal, hours, renting the facility, and so on. Other outreach is tonight I'll be at the American Legion in Junction for the Columbus Junction Vietnam Veterans of America meeting. I go to the Legion meetings and the VFW meetings quarterly. And then last, I think about 2 weeks ago now, I met with Colin and Lockford, invited other District 1 VSOs, and also Patty Hammond, who's the Iowa Association of County Veteran Service Officers, came down, and Mike Mortensen, who is our legislative liaison for the organization. We talked about that second page is was our agenda for the meeting. I wanted us to meet them and vice versa, so that when they're confronted with a vote that affects veterans and VSO offices, that they know who they can reach out to in their local communities. I feel better about that. Then the 4 topics of discussion were IDVA has, Iowa Department of Affairs has been kind of granted through law control, not kind of, they have been granted control over our training requirements. They pushed it to 20 hours, whereas my accrediting agency, and they're the gold standard, requires 16. So there's some headbutting going on between us and IDVA. They're kind of doing a power grab. They want more control over things. We can talk more about it, but those are the topics there, and discussions provided as well. The last thing that came up was a 20-hour minimum. The county or the statewide law code says 20 by population, 20, 30, 40 hours. The association is recommending, because of all these additional requirements that are coming up, and the law was based out of, I'm not sure how many years ago, but there's more things that we have to do than what we used to do. And the association is suggesting looking at all the counties moving to 30 hours minimum, so it'll be 30 versus 40 hours. I've asked what that would cost us, because that would move myself or whoever's in the job into a full-time, and there would be benefits that would be associated with that. that request is still pending. I've called that the 30-hour initiative, so that's what we refer to it as. You've already, upped my, time allocation by about $4,000 or $5,000, somewhere in there. And if I'm able to, and there's nothing that says I can't, kind of retweak the $10,000 that the state's already giving me and push more, take that $1,500, for instance, and use it for more hours, that already moves me towards the 30 hours. So it's not gonna hurt as much if the state comes in and says, that's 30 hours. And then I've broken down what are the other. We were ranked number 77 as far as population goes in the state, so I took 5 above and 5 below, and I've done that work. We are, as I've discussed in the past, we're at the bottom of number of hours we provide, 20 to 24, and there's some counties that are few hundred or less than 1,000 residents, larger, and they offer 40 hours. So I have that. We can talk about it another time. I'm not asking for any more money though. Just trying to tell you that I'm going to work more. Sorry.
That's okay, she keeps sneaking her way out, she's
Really don't.
really.
Everyone, that's Ruby.
This extra inch or two every couple of minutes.
So that's it. And then we have our commission meeting on the 21st. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the moment that everybody's been waiting for. LP tank repairs. One of them, I'm glad I was sitting down when I got it. Take it out. Okay. The one is just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, they were very detailed, but then there's still things in there that they're, it's extra. Possible.
So, you wanna take it? You drove legwork, go ahead, you can.
Well, so. Yeah, New Hampton was very detailed. I mean, they came out very detailed and looking things over, spent quite a bit of time, but. Very detailed in their bid, but I was shocked by their estimate.
Would you like to tell them what it was?
Yeah. Oh, you want me to tell them?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know if they, 43,810.27 plus there's additional fees for. Propane to purge tank locates, burn off tank when empty, temporary LP tank and. To locate and dig out the bulkhead and replace with the right.
Now, in their defense, this included a brand new line to the building.
No.
No?
So when I got their bid, Farm Services bid, the first bid we got, it's not really detailed like them, it kind of lists stuff. So I called Farm Service because I wanted, after talking with them out there, they were pointing out things that was wrong. So the regulator out there now is currently down there, at the field line, the 3 foot or whatever off the ground. They said that should have never been there. It should have been on top of the tank because it can turn back into liquid by the time it gets down there. And currently there's 2 1.25 inch lines on top that come together to feed that regulator. And they said, that's not right. So New Hampton wanted to weld a 2-inch bung at the top of the tank and put the regulator up there and close them 1.25 inches off. And so I called Farm Service, and then we're talking to him, he goes, oh yeah, we're doing the same thing. He goes, I just didn't put all the little details, but he goes, rest assured, he said, we're doing everything to code. He said, that's what we do. He goes, everything will be to code. And there's two release valves on top of that tank that have to be replaced every 15 years. And I asked Farm Service, and after looking at, I did see them, they're being replaced. And
So if you compare Rife and Agriland,
they're fairly
they're
close.
close, so they're within $1,000
Yeah.
of each other. the ag land, or right would be, well, maybe $1,400, $14,000-ish. I'm not gonna add these two up, but, and then, farm services at 12.6.
Yeah,
Do you think Hampton is out of line?
well, I think so, because. I mean, if you look at their bid, they've got a lot of, which I don't dispute, but they've got a lot of travel time.
Yeah.
Figured in there, which they're coming a long ways, but I think farm service is coming out of. I ain't sure where their crew is, I think Winterset probably.
Will they recertify the tank?
I don't know if anybody was recertifying the tank. They're
When
just,
does it expire?
the tank,
Yeah.
that I'm not sure of. They're putting new regulator on the tank, cause that has to be done at every 10 years. So basically well, and then if you looked at New Hampshire, the part of the reason New Hampton's bid was higher, he's claiming what do you call it, the bulkhead, the cement there is not legal. He said this has to be weighed, it has to be like a foot or so below frost line. I'm like, how do you know? You have not probed down or dug. So I asked the farm service representative about it. He goes, we never looked at that. We just assumed the cement was right. He goes, but we can probe down and see if it's right. So, but New Hampton had some of that. They didn't have all of it in there, as you can see. Additional expenses. They got local to dig out bulkhead and replace with the right one, but they do have cement and some rebar in there to do that cement work, which Rife or Farm Service would not have in their bids. But still, that's not anywhere near that much difference.
Randy, to answer your question, I see on Agriland, it says, perform full safety inspection and make recommendations on any needed repairs, but it also provide and install all necessary NFPA and local signage to identify the storage tank meets guidelines. So I can't mention they saw the sticker on there if they hadn't made sure that the tank was up to snuff.
Yeah, I just wondered if New Hampton would certify it too. And I noticed on the bid that one thing that New Hampton done, and it's very, very trivial, but they included that in their bid, was put placards on it.
Well, that's
very trivial.
That's in this one too.
I missed that on that. I missed that.
Yeah, it says, provide and install all necessary NFPA and local signage to identify storage tank.
And I don't think their lodging bids are that far out of line either for what New Hampton's offering.
No.
And the mileage, it's not that far out of line.
No, but their total bid is quite a bit higher for.
I think they're probably a little more thorough. Them other bids seem pretty ambiguous to me. They don't, aren't as detailed, and you really don't know what you're getting.
Well,
Other than, yeah, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, but I don't think it's too bad a deal.
Well, when you get two of them that are real close, and then one of them that's triple what the other one two are.
These people know what they're doing.
The whole thing was just to get it so it didn't leak gas, and it's turned into this humongous.
so I mean, Farm Services, basically they're gonna replace, both them and Rife both basically say they're gonna replace everything from the tank to the underground line, and that's where our leaking is at. Now, there's no, the regulators on the building still need to be replaced too, according to New Hampton, which said they were out of date. But I was kind of looking at New Hampton's bids and I didn't see any of the building regulators listed on there, which you're not talking a lot of money on those. But I think New Hampton's bids basically was just the tank.
You think you ought to call the fire marshal in and have him take a look at it? See what he thinks. You get some opinion from a professional.
I think we got three bids here that are in the business. We'll pick one out of these three and get the work done.
And so New Hampton, when I talked to them, I said about the possibility of getting it done this year. Well, they really did not give me a good feel, and so when I talked to Agriland after getting the other bids, I asked him, I said, what is your guys's hot on getting it done before winter. Oh, we should be able to get it next month. He goes, now. Who knows, but
I understand. We need to get something done. We better kick down the road too fast, right?
I mean, Farm Service does,
Yeah.
I mean, they do a lot of this work. It won't be a local crew. Oh, and I don't know, on the disclaimer, so my son-in-law is manager at Wyman location, but this would not be anything to do with Wyman, so I don't know if that affects if I should vote on it or not, but I wanted to.
I understand.
You wait too long on them, they're gonna be on dryer shaft and everything else.
Yeah.
So. Well, the one bid says it includes taxes, so you can take that
Take
off.
that off.
Yeah, see, we had that taken off on ours.
The thing I see wrong with, New Hamptons is they've got the county wrong.
So they can send that bill to some. I'd look for a motion for something. We'll get this done.
Well. Scott's put a lot of work into this.
Yes, he has. I appreciate it too.
I think, to me, it looks like, I would make a motion to go with, Farm Service.
I think I can second that.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. We'll take some phone calls.
Mhm.
Let's see if we can get this thing done before it's too cold.
So who makes that call to them? I got the guy's contact number.
If you want to, that's fine.
Or you want me to call him or? Okay.
Last item is, discussion action to appoint Seth Todd as a trustee for the Columbus benefited fire term ending December 31st, 2027. Is he already on there?
No,
No?
I got a phone call from Tom McFarland. He was not wanting to stay on.
Okay.
I talked to him last January or February when we was first doing this, and he was looking for a replacement. He just called me like a week or two ago and said he found Seth to take over, so.
And Seth knows all about this?
Yeah, it sounds like it's all good. Yeah.
I know how this happens.
I talked to him first.
Okay, good.
I'll make a motion to appoint, Seth Todd as trustee for the Columbus Junction Benefited Fire Term ending December 31st, 2027.
And I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Last item is adjournment. Anybody want to add anything before I adjourn? Look for a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.